Сайн байцгаана уу хүн үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор НҮБ-ын Хүүхдийн Сангийн Суурин төлөөлөгч ноён Эваристе Коуасси-Комлан оролцож байна.
Эваристе Коуасси-Комлан Монгол дахь нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Хүүхдийн Сангийн Суурин төлөөлөгч. Нидерландын Делфтийн технологийн их сургуулийн ус хангамж, ариун цэврийн инженер мэргэжлэр төгссөн. 2018 оноос хойш Таиланд дахь нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Хүүхдийн Сангийн Зүүн Аз Номхон далайн бүс нутгийн оффист ус хангамж, ариун цэвэр, эрүүл ахуй хариуцсан бүсийн зөвлөхөөр ажиллаж байсан бөгөөд тус бүс нутгийн нийт 24 оронд шийдэл, шин санаачилгуудыг хэрэгжүүлэхэд удирдан ажиллаж байсан. 2012-оос 2018 онд Нью-Йорк дахь нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Хүүхдийн Сангийн төв оффист ус хангамж, ариун цэвэр, эрүүл ахуйн ахлах зөвлөх болон нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Хүүхдийн Сангийн ус хангамж, ариун цэвэр, эрүүл ахуйн дэлхийн хөтөлбөрийн дэд захирал болон захирлаар ажиллаж байсан. Дэлхийн банк олон улсын усны нөөцийн төв Билл ба Мелинда Гейтсийн сан, Африкийн хөгжлийн банк, Африк болон Азийн улс орнууд дахь сан засгийн газрын зөвлөхөөр ажиллаж байжээ. 2021 оны 11-р сард Монгол дахь нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Хүүхдийн Сангийн суурин төлөөлөгчөөр томилогдсон.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well.
And speaking about the year, it's already 2 years, right? You are here. And let's start from what you have seen 2 years ago and what is now. If there is any particular changes you would like to highlight?
Thank you very much, De facto. It's always a great pleasure to have you and interview me. I remember 2 years ago we were on the same plateau when I came in Mongolia just to share with you some of the challenge and then the direction that we are going through. And now I think it's 2 years after. It might be also good to have a sort of feedback on what I've seen and what we have been doing and how things evolving in the country. I'm very glad that I was able to visit 21 provinces in Mongolia, which is one of the biggest records, for UNICEF representative in Mongolia, visiting all those provinces, greeting all the governors of all those provinces and going to some of the Zoom, having the discussion, doing some checkup and discussing with many people at Zoom level on their challenge, their need, and how we can work together. This was a very good opportunity for us to see with our own eyes what is going on the ground and how UNICEF can better support. So this is quite good to have a sort of situation analysis from my side and talk to many government and see how we can implement the program that we have agreed together with the government in Mongolia. I was very proud that through this discussion we had with many governors, some of them made a clear commitment on the agenda for the children, which was very, very important. We moved from 3 provinces where we were working before, namely Zahan, Gobiata, and on Bayango. We moved from those 3 and then reached now the 21 provinces where we are working together with many government office, which is also a very great achievement. We have this good network with all the governors that we can talk to anytime. And in addition to that, we have in each of the province, a good relation with AFSID, young people, to engage more young at the different level. And all our programs that we are working with, including health, education, child protection, social policy, all those have a very good partnership set up on the ground, which is a very good thing for us. We are also able to have this good communication with a lot of MPs of all those provinces that we are working with now, which is also a very good opportunity because they have
substantially extended the scope of work of UNICEF in Mongolia.
Exactly. So the partnership has been extended, not only through the government, through the ministry, but also through many stakeholders that can play a huge role in the society, that include also private sector, that we are working with civil society on the ground,
so
that we are
have
working with
multi-stakeholders all
exactly,
together.
yeah.
What was the main issue you have been focusing during the last 2 years?
So I think one of the key areas that we are working on and we continue working on is air pollution. Over 3 years, we have done a lot of study around air pollution, and in terms of technology that need to be developed to support family who have challenge in terms of heating their gas. We work a lot on that. In addition, we have also worked on the impact of the air pollution on the children, basically in terms of their health and their well-being, which is one of a good study that we work on. We work also on some of the nutrition studies that basically determine the level of obesity on the children. We'll be doing another, study on nutrition that will, see what is the micronutrient, level in the children, which is very important. This also will help to have a sort of cross-layer analysis that you saw how obesity in the country and micronutrient work together. Is something that we are working on, and also one big study that we are doing with a National Statistic Office, which is multiple indicator cluster survey that will, after the COVID, to see overall the situation of the children in Mongolia in different sectors, basically education, health, nutrition, child protection. And so this is one of the biggest survey that will come up with a good result, if a result in 2024.
Yes.
That will, basically help us to better program in the future for the country.
Let's talk about one by one, and then let's talk first about this air pollution situation.
Yeah.
And I have seen your your documents on the air pollution. It is not only Ulaanbaatar issue, but almost all IMAC now have this issue. Whether compared with last year or year before, situation are getting better or worse?
I think there's a huge improvement overall, although there's still some challenges in some places where families still using a raw coal, basically that create a most of hazard, a health issue in the children. We have done a good analysis in terms of biometric analysis on the children, and that has shown that the level of lead in the blood of the children is quite worrisome. It's above the 35 microgram per liter. That is basically recommended.
What content?
Lead.
Lead.
Lead in the blood of the children, which is above, in some of the area, above the reference number recommended, which is 35. So it is something that we need to work on collectively with the government, many partners at different levels. The challenge is if we address the issue in the beginning, we reduce the lead content in the blood of the children.
How many times is higher than the average or supposed to be?
Sometimes it can be 2 times higher, sometimes it's 3 times higher, depending on the location and where the children live. In Ulaanbaatar, for example, we have seen where there's a car, the car, repair, we have seen the level very high.
Now, plus, the people are selling the filter in the car, which is supposed to make lower that content, lead and many other several contents. Have you observed that people are keeping selling the catalyst, the filter? Yeah, no, I think it's a very good move to have those filters in the car, not only for the emission that they are emitting, the reduction of emission, but also inside the car. Because during the winter here, instead of using AC closed, you need to open it up. If not, you have this vape in the car. So I would recommend also that the air purification that we have in house, we have similar in the car as well, because some of the study are showing that
having polluted air in a car also can increase the blood pressure.
I see.
So those are some of the recent study that has been done in US that constitute a very good reference on how we can behave around air pollution in different aspects.
The way the car, and there is an exhaust tube.
Yeah.
And that tube has a filter.
Yeah.
And that filter is stolen or sold because it has some rare
catalytic
yes.
effect. Yeah.
So, and that's why many cars goes without that until it is checked by the inspection, annual inspection. Does it impact on children in a way that children are smaller head and they may have a more content of this kind of things than the grown-up people who is above the 100 certain 70.
So I call something the triple pollution on the children in Mongolia. The first one is more to the air pollution, basically.
I see.
Whether children are victim of that, whether they are small or big, it's the same. They have this kind of air blowing every time on their nose, on their eyes and mouth. I think this is the first one. The second one is like this polluted air doesn't go away without settling. The fact that the pollution settled down on the ground, you have the second effect, which is the soil pollution. And then when the children during the summer are playing on the ground, they still have this level of contamination with lead, heavy metal, all those kind of things that settle up is the second one.
Which is remaining in the soil even when the summer comes.
Exactly. And then the third one is like those is going to the ground and then can contaminate also the groundwater, which is one of the sources of consumption. So those three, I call it the three pollution effect that need to be tackled, in different way. If you don't do that, we all know the consequences of, heavy metal in the body.
If there's any statistics related to mortality, related to the health level of the children in general.
So we call usually they call something in a scientific communicate the lethal dose. The lethal dose is the level that you achieve that can create a harmful to your body, harm to your body. So it's why the WHO has a reference number for everything. So if you like lead, you have 35, microgram, and you reach that, you are above that for many years. You reach the level where it cannot be cured. You cannot get out of it in the blood. That can create a lot of effect, like liver cancer, like leukemia, many other diseases, and renal issues that can basically be more harmful for the children. All those heavy metal can create damage in the body in the long run, not now. It's not like a bullet someone is shooting to you, but it's more a long-term process that slowly creates a degradation.
How long we have this level reached?
But it depends on the level that you inject in the body, right?
Yes.
So if the children is more in the face of the pollution regularly, and it can be shorter, to be harmful for the children, where the children occasionally face those kind of challenge.
So the fact is, this is a big danger for Mongolian children living in big cities. Almaty Center and Ulaanbaatar city. Yeah. That's fact, right?
It is heavily polluted, it's very dangerous. It's why we all need to act on that.
Yes. What would be the best? I understand. I mean, what is the example of other countries? You have been working in UNICEF for many years. So
there's a lot of good examples also that we have seen, and a lot of examples which are also very worse than in Mongolia as well. That we don't need. We are very lucky that in Mongolia it's more seasonal. It's between November and March, and which is more temporary. But in some of the countries like India, it's everyday challenge that they are facing in terms of pollution.
Kathmandu,
Nepal, for example, those countries. But I think the challenge here is more seasonal, and we need to manage the source of those
which is
pollution.
heating with raw coal.
Exactly, raw coal. It's why for us...
Or low-quality briquette, so-called.
Yeah. It's why, for us in UNICEF, we are promoting cooking, heating, insulation product called CHIP, which is a small heating device that you connect to the normal grate that basically make, and then with the whole wall for isolation made by the North Face material that can keep the heating.
Probably the short-term solution is that's what you are describing, having a very portable, comfortable, small heating, but efficient to be.
Exactly.
And the longer run, it is to be a housing issue, I think.
Exactly. You need to integrate this one in a housing, and also make sure that in a housing there's a clear isolation system. Because if the isolation is there, you have a less consumption of the energy that is powering the house. So all those are linked together. And if you have in a big city like Ulaanbaatar, where 70%, 80% of pollution coming from the Gaya area, we need to tackle that first, basically. And then this can basically change the ball game in terms of health. We have done also some years before a study on how the air pollution is impacting the private sector workforce, for example, how many sickness. So those are very important to consider, in a holistic manner if you want to tackle air pollution as well.
I remember 2 years ago, let's talk about the second concern on nutrition. 2 years ago, we have been talking based on the school, that time school, remember, school tea was becoming school lunch, etc. The situation changed. What is now concerned in terms of the children's nutrition?
I think, like I say, for UNICEF, you have support a lot of government, basically, first of all, to improve in a school condition the nutrition, the preparation of the good food. We have trained a lot of professional chef in many schools to make sure that they can prepare a variety of food that can be very nutritious.
Oh, you have been training chefs?
Yeah. So
how many schools?
Oh, actually, we reach more or less 200 schools.
Whoa, we have 600 plus schools.
Yeah.
And that was 1/3.
Yeah, so we need to go further. If we are teaming through the National Public Health Department, we are working on those issues, which is very important. And then the second component is also the teaching of the education of the children for the selection of the food that is more nutrition for them, which is, instead of choosing noodle, why don't you choose, meat or something like that.
How did you do that?
It's through a package that we developed to support the teachers in the schools.
You send 200 schools around?
It's more than that. It's more the package that is available for all the schools, and we are colleagues are using that as well.
Is there any particular program in the curriculum of the school that teaches this part of the components?
No, not in the curricula as such, but it's more complementary of what we are supporting the government to do.
Looks like we are under playing that, because it's so important for children themselves to know what food is good, what food is not.
So there's a big campaign that we'll be launching next year, and they call it Fix My Food. With the government. I think it's very important in the long run. Fix My Food will help the children identify, the calorie for each of the food, the content of the food, how nutrition is. And this campaign is very important in different ways. One is to get rid of some of the sugary drink or sugary food. That will reduce the obesity. And then the second one is also knowing the calorie so that it cannot increase the obesity on the children, because calorie is one of the factors of obesity.
And speaking about the obesity, there was also concern that Mongolian children were among the most obesity children in Asia 2 years ago. I remember that. Is the situation changing now?
I think there's a lot of progress, a lot of teaching, a lot of information going on, but the data is stagnant. It's not moving very fast like we expected. This is why the Fix My Food program will basically help to understand the food, and also in addition to that, do some of, educate the children on exercising, exercise also reduce obesity and also not be so stagnant at the same place. We know that the connection with internet nowadays, with playing video, all those kind of things, increase the sedentarity of the children. Hence, include that, also some of the
exercise. Now, every school is supposed to have sport classes, particular classes. Are they sufficient enough? Are they all accessible to every child in Mongolia?
I was actually very impressed when I went to some of the remote zones and seeing that there's a sports place that are available. So it means that I think there's a huge effort done by the government, at least to have those infrastructure in place, which is a great achievement. The challenge is now is more, sometimes you have a challenge to have the education, sport education teachers might not be available, or sometimes we don't have some equipment, basically. So those are some of the things that we need, basically, to work on with some of the Zoom at a later stage as well.
Developed nations, in Germany, for example, every child is supposed to learn how to swim. And if, all schools supposed to have a swimming pool. If not, they help that student to go to nearest possible swimming pool, and that price, cost are paid, for example. I don't think we will come to that level very soon, but however, the level of accessibility to the exercises, swimming, if there is any research from UNICEF side for every country to learn about the situation and compare.
So we had one program before, sport for education, educational sport in sport for development, which is one of the programs you had before in most of our program, in most of the country. This has shown how significant exercise in a sport can improve and the life skill of the children. It also brings good aspect like connection. It brings mental support for the children. It also improve cognitivity of the children. We have seen all those things in many programs that we have worldwide. And in Mongolia, we have been also supporting like jiu-jitsu, for example, to have those kind of self-defense for life skill. We have been supporting some of the schools to have some, football or basket tournament as well. We are working on those. But I think one thing that I want to say, particularly on the sport, there's a lot of good environment that will enable the sport to develop in the country and then improve those aspects that we are talking about, which is quite significant. But now coming to the swimming, for example, is Mongolia is not a swimming country, right?
Yes.
So
it's very important.
Yeah, it's very important to be prepared because during the summer we see a lot of children drowning.
Yeah, around 100 every year.
Yeah, so
total people, but out of them almost half children.
Yeah. So this year, particularly in July, we were able to team up with the police to bring more information, and also with NEMA to bring more information on how children can better swim, how surveillance need to be in place, all those kind of things. So. In the future, in the coming year, we want during the summer to have a proper program for support for the children. So this will basically help them to be well prepared. And also in the summer is where most of the children here get a lot of vitamin D through the sun. So we want to have support, sport, and also a combination of exposition of the children that will help them, mentally grow and also to be more active during the winter.
For the first time, I believe, except the remote districts, 5 major districts of Ulaanbaatar have public swimming pool now. And now the issue is if every school has access with their children to that swimming pool, and what is how the system works, because even when I was a small boy in Ulaanbaatar city, from Ger district, we were taken every week to the shower by class, organized. For particular days, our school, our class has certain hours. So we knew that day we go to the showers, which the facility at that time was less than, of course, now. And now the same with the swimming pool. If the schools can organize, as I said just now, to that the public swimming pools, if there is any way from your side to push that.
I would be happy to support that. I think I've been in Sugubata district. Sugubata province, some time ago, they have one of the biggest pools.
Provinces.
And I was amazed to see that pool. And the same reflection came to my mind. I say, okay, how don't you bring all the children during the summer and then, do those kind of exercise? And it's a part of our support for development plan to have those children also
nice. Have that
learn how to swim, which is very important because we don't want to have those kind of statistic of children, drawing during the summer, which is not good. I think it would be better to prepare them before the summer.
Mongolia is now getting ready to this kind of program. All right. The third topic I would like to ask you again is violence. Children. We will not talk about females in general, but about the children. How is the situation is happening or enrolling in Mongolia?
So it's very sad that from time to time you hear some of the information on violence against the children. In Mongolia is something that we hear, in the news, and also I've been in some of the school. Not only the physical violence, but also I would say some of verbal or many kind of violence.
Yes.
A few months ago, I received a letter from one of the girl from one of the school. Which has been dismissed. The main cause of dismissal is because that girl claimed that the food in school is not good, for example. And then the girl sent me a letter. I say, okay, her right has been violated. How we can support those kind of issues? So those cases is, and we have other cases where it's more parents basically who are part of the violence against those children. So for us, you need a lot of education. Parenting is one of the areas that we are, supporting a lot, and how the parent can take more responsibility vis-a-vis of their children.
Mongolia has a law on protecting children, right?
Yeah. There's a law, there's a family law, there's many laws, but I think the implementation is one of the challenges, right? I think the protection area is one of the complex area because it involves multi-sector, basically. It's not only on protection, social protection issue, but it has a lot of factors that led to the violence against children. One of them is the situation of the family can create those kind of challenge, right? The situation of the sibling, the school environment, can be bullying, can be all those factors. It's a combination of a lot of things. And we have seen also Mongolia has been one of the countries where mental health issue has been increased a lot because of some of those factors linked to the violence against those children in their house, in their environment, which is something that we are working with many other partners and stakeholders to see how we can help better the government address those issues. And the parenting for us is one of the key areas to address how parents can be aware of those situations.
So how you would improve the situation?
So first of all, I think how the law and the strategy that is developed can be implemented at different levels, right? Is one. And then the second one is when those rights are violated or people violence against children, how we take those children to safe haven first to protect them. and then before identify those people who perpetrate those actions against the children, and then have a judiciary system take over all those things. The situation is something that we are working on.
Does the system work here?
It's working because but sometimes it can take some. I was in one province last time, and then the police officer was telling me sometimes it will take 19 days, basically, to identify. But we need to bring those children in a safe haven, in the protection area before, doing all those kind of assessment. Checking if the situation. Depending on the predator or where the situation is coming from. So it's more a holistic issue. The means sometimes is lacking, like calling, like having a fuel to go, those kind of things. Those basic things, things that need to be in place as well if you do want to search properly for the situation.
What is your priority for this coming year? 2024.
I think 2024 will be one of the good years as well for us. We are very lucky this year that we are able to have opportunity to create a local bank account in Mongolia for the local fundraising, which is one of the opportunity. And this local fundraising will allow us to address some of the challenge that you are talking about. How everyone in Mongolia can contribute to address issues like child protection, violence against women, air pollution issues, health issue, and also education issue. We are so lucky, like during our last gala event, we were able to mobilize some of the resources to provide at least 50 gear to the family who are in need during this cold weather of clean indoor, clean air in the gear. So this was a very great achievement for us, and that is very important. Mobilize local resources will be one of the priority to address some of the challenging issues that the country has been facing. And then the second priority for us is, like you say, child protection will be on the agenda big, because it's where we have seen most of the challenges over the coming months in the country, and our office will prioritize that in the coming year as well. And then the third area for us is health. In health, there's some of the issues that we have neglected before for so long. One of them is oral health issues. You go. 3 months ago, I went to one of the small area in House, and we are doing some dental check in a village of 2,000 people. We remove more or less 600 teeth. So the 2 decades is something that is very widespread in the country. 90% of the children has at least one.
Oh my goodness, it's the beginning of other health situations.
Yeah, and then like you pointed very rightly, my grandmother used to say, all your disease coming from teeth, basically. If your teeth are good, you are good, right? And I think something that we need to work on with the government.
Very interesting program.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that the Prime Minister's office is taking it seriously, and also part of the presidential Health in Mongolia program.
Yeah.
So those are linked together, which is a good priority. And then the next one in health is rheumatic disease prevention. So the rheumatic disease is more the streptococcus infection in your throat that remain dead and then can create cardiovascular disease. We are able to start a program this year in September in Selenge. We have checked 20,000 children there, and 15% of them have this streptococcus infection, which is big.
Yes.
So for us, is how we continue the assessment, referral, treatment, basically of those with the support of the health insurance will be one of the priority that we need to address in the long run in our program as well. And then you have quality education. We will continue supporting the Minister of Education fully, 100% support for the education because it's one of the priority as well for our program.
What you have just now listed is at least things that you initiate and the government, the people, everybody is to follow, really to have a success on each of them. And UNICEF always bringing attention to the focusing attention to the particular issues that matters the most in terms of children, their health, their protection. So looks like you will have another great year, and I would like to congratulate you and your people, your team, for a wonderful job in Mongolia. It looks like next year is coming even more exciting.
Yeah, no, I hope so. And I have a fantastic team, by the way, that, working and delivering all those results. And they are also in a very good contact with all the stakeholders that we are working on, from, president advisor level to the SUM governor or to the beneficiary. So we have those lines, including the private sector engagement, which is very good for us. And we will continue also through your support, because media is very important on what you do to communicate better. And I'll invite you for our next field trip, so that you can witness what we are, what is going on in the field.
Let's do it.
And then see also how we interact with the local government. And I just want to take this opportunity also to thank all the governors in the 21 provinces who have been very wonderful and supportive to our program. Some of them make a huge commitment for the benefit of the children agenda, which is billion to break to advance the child right issue. I would like to thank them very much and thank all the ministry who have been always there to support in our program. And I think you have been doing a lot of good things during the past 2 years, and then we'll continue doing the same in the year to come.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
За, хүн төлөөлөгчтэй өнөөдөр манай дефактоны шүүргийн зочноор НҮБ-ын Хүүхдийн Суурин төлөөлөгч ноён Evariste Kouassi-Komlan оролцлоо. Баярлалаа.